Yeah. I was just thinking about the camera height, microphone height. Happy in the picture in your shot? I'm not exactly sure, to be honest.
I'll go and ask one of the kids. Karen's in the family on this road. Yeah, I know. So does Karen. Karen's sitting at home. We might have to follow this from the other side. I mean, just everything else is no, exactly. Not feeling any. Well, we need I'll just get Dan and Andy to come.
Yeah, otherwise, it's good to say.
So you come from class.
Yeah. But I have to write.
Please be seated. Do you want more people to come in? Yep. There are a few more seats in here if anyone wants to come and join us inside. Don't be shy just because it's the front row.
They can read my speech.
No takers? Okay. Is there two coming? It's hard when you miss someone, but you know if you miss them, it means you were lucky. It means you had someone special in your life, someone worth missing. That person that was special in our lives was Nicol John Perry, a man whom was a family man and a community-spirited person. Today, as we remember and celebrate Nick's life, we do so in a hall that he helped build, so that the community here had a place to gather. This morning, as we celebrate the life of Nick, we also take this opportunity to reflect on all he brought to your lives, the memories you created together, and to give thanks for the privilege of knowing him. Nick was a much-loved husband to Karen, a father, son, brother, uncle, and a much-loved and respected friend to many. Today we remember Karen, Jen, Bex and Mitchell, his siblings and their partners, and his extended family. May we all keep them in the forefront of our minds in the days and weeks ahead as they adjust to life without Nick's physical presence. Good morning and welcome to our service here today for Nick. My name is Bronwyn Waterspoon and I have the honour of leading you through the service today. At the end of the service, the family extend a warm invitation to you all to join them for a potluck lunch here in true farming community style. This will give you the opportunity to continue sharing your memories of Nick while supporting each other and of course Nick's family. Today we also welcome those joining us via live streaming, so welcome. Thank you for your support for the family, and as distance or circumstance prevents you from being here. And I understand there's even people joining us from England, so special welcome. Could you please ensure that you've signed the memorial book as a record of attendance for the family? They're not going to remember everyone, of course, that's here today. Look at the amazing turnout. Also, cell phones, can you please ensure they are switched off or are on silent? No one wants to be that person. And just in case of an emergency, just leave the building quietly via the exits. You guys outside are fine. As we say farewell to Nick, the family have ensured his hat and his boots are with him. The native plants that embellish his casket and the hay bales he rests upon epitomise his love of land and farming. So I had the privilege of meeting with the family on Sunday afternoon. And even from that very short insight with the family, it was evident of the love and the respect they shared with each other. Visitors came and went, folks helping out on the farm as they could, all graciously accepted by the Perry family as they dealt with their grief and loss. History of Nick was spoken of and stories told as one memory led to another. And from that you weave a timeline of a life. Victoria Perry is Nick's sister-in-law and was married to Matt, who was Nick's older brother. She has kindly agreed to present the eulogy today on behalf of the family. So we warmly invite you forward, Victoria.
Thanks, Bronwyn. Before I start, I've just got a couple of messages. One is a message written by Nick's Aunt Jude, who's joined us today from Parnassus, and another one from Uncle Jeff in Wanaka. So this one's from Jude. The Perry family were and are very special to us. Many years ago, Nick's mum Jackie's siblings, Sally, Jeff and I, would go to Corambi and Methven in the summer holidays, so we played, or I'd like to think helped, when the three older Perry siblings, Matt, Nick and Julie, were babes. Oh, how we loved them. I have memories of holding Nick's small hands as he was learning to walk, and of going to his end-of-year school concerts. And a few years later, when I was married, living in Cheviot, and Nick and Julie would come and stay with us at One Tree Hill, I remember Nick running fast across all the new hay bales with a huge grin covering his face. Then of him arriving years later on a powerful motorbike, all in black. He didn't offer me a ride. So I, have been lucky to have Nick in our lives at different times, and both Mike and I are so sorry he has left, so suddenly, so unexpectedly. My love to you, Karen, and the family. And from Uncle Jeff in Wanaka, I am stunned and greatly saddened at the news of Nick's untimely passing. Please pass on to Karen and her family my condolences. My phone conversations with Nick always started the same. First he had to find his phone. Anyway, they either started, Vic, Nick here, or Nick, Vic here. So this is for you, Nick, Vic here, and on behalf of your siblings. Today we gather to celebrate the life of Nick, a loving and loved husband, father, brother, son, uncle, nephew, cousin, friend, and a man who touched the hearts of so many and left an indelible mark on this community, where he so willingly shared his time, his skills, and his enthusiasm. We've all had a hand in writing this for you, Nick, with many different shared memories and thoughts of the person you were, not just to us, but for Karen, for Jen, for Bex, and for Mitchell. Nick was a beacon of warmth and kindness to so many, and his journey through life was marked by his deep connection to his roots. Nick was born in Methven in July 1957, where the Perrys were farming. He started school at Lauriston and was a mainlander there until 1970, when the family moved north to Coomeraw. Nick briefly attended Coomeraw School and then went to Palmy Boys High boarding at College House, where he made many lifelong friends. In 1976, he went to university at Lincoln, where he gained a diploma in ag. During and after this, he took on a variety of farming experiences, including working on Mesopotamia Station for the bark proutings and milking at Lincoln. The only time he's ever done that, I would think. Then in 1985, he set off for his OE, including an international agriculture exchange hosted by families in Canada and Switzerland. The international experience expanded his horizons, but Coomerawa remained the magnetic force that drew him back home. Once home for good, he launched himself into the local activities, including the Woodville Young Farmers Club, where he met the love of his life, Karen, at a bad taste party. Jackie, his mum, introduced him to her love of theatre, and Nick joined the Pahiatua Repertory Society, where he did everything, from lighting to acting to being president. He was also a volunteer and current president of the Pahiatua Regent Cinema, an avid cyclist, completing the round Taupō race 3 times on a variety of bikes. Nick joined Woodville Federated Farmers, later the Tararua Feds, and filled most positions, I think, over the years. This culminated in a life membership awarded jointly to Nick and Karen. Nick's been a stalwart of the Coomerawa district, volunteering his time to many activities: the school, the dog trials, this hall, the pool over there, the tennis club. He loved his time on his home and farm, especially his beardy dogs, his ancient Kawasaki motorbike that has only gone twice since 1990. He loved kimchi and dark chocolate, which is an genetically inherited trait. And he loved to experiment in the kitchen, being a great cake baker. He was an avid home brewer and an opinionated taster, a lover of live motorsport, and an amateur photographer where his connection to the serenity of nature was undeniable. Nick and Karen celebrated their 35th wedding anniversary last month after marrying in 1989. 1989. And shortly thereafter, 3 beautiful children arrived, all rushing in 2 months early each. From 1996 to 2014, Nick and Karen leased Otawa Station, then moved to their own farm, Burnbrae in Mairi in 2012. Then in 1919, moved to Ngātoto Farm back here in Coomerawa, and just started building their dream home this year. Nick never felt the need to be at the centre of attention. With the exception of playing Frankenfurter in the Rocky Horror Picture Show, he was always just comfortable being in himself, being Nick. He liked to come into a room, blend in, sit back, listen, then always participate in whatever was happening. He had an opinion whether you agreed with him or not. Being comfortable with himself was a quality that enabled him to be a farmer, an often insular way of working, but one that allowed him to enjoy and participate so well in all the big and the small things as they occurred throughout his life here. You have left behind so much, Nick, that you should be proud of. No more so than the love of your partner in crime, Karen, and your 3 independent, loving children. They are your legacy. You have also left behind a hell of a lot of stuff in those sheds that they will now have to sort out. As we bid farewell to you, Nick, let us carry forward the passion that you imparted and the memories you created through the years. The experience of life defined you. You leave behind a legacy, hope, love, encouragement, optimism, perseverance. strength, and unwavering dedication. This is what we will remember when we think of you. And finally, in the words of Leonard Cohen, ring the bells that still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There's a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. Rest in peace, Nick, dear friend and brother. Your light will shine on.
Thank you, Victoria. You did the family proud. The family would like to take this time to publicly acknowledge and thank those who tried so valiantly to save Nick's life last week. None of you will ever be forgotten by the family. Donations towards the Woodville Fire Brigade can be made today if you would like to do so. So Jen, Bex and Mitchell are going to share some of their memories growing up with Nick as their dad. So now we invite them forward together as they support each other.
Hi, I'm Jen. I'm Nick and Karen's eldest. Just got a bit about Dad today. So, Dick Donaldson. This was a name Dad adopted when trying to get us kids to put clothes on. When he'd walk around the house with underwear on his head. This was to get us to put clothes on because quite often we'd run outside of the house and get in the trough. And there's many nudie photos of us all in the trough as evidence of that. Dad has a great sense of humour. We even discovered this more so when we were looking for his will. We found a full 2-page sheet of very un-PC jokes. Dad, earliest memory of you is being about 4, and you and Grandy Perry were trying to pull start the grader, and it used to sound horrific. And it scared the absolute shit out of me, and I ran and hid under the woolshed, and Mum had to come and get me, and I was probably about 4. I've always had a soft spot for the grader, even though it didn't really go. I never knew what I wanted to do with my life, but Dad said, you can always start again. I stuck with chefing, and I would always get Mum and Dad to try new and exciting ingredients. Dad loved new foods, his dark beer, nice wines. I'd always try and search out a nice new craft beer when I was coming back home on the weekends. He always loved the weird sour beers that I could find. I loved my year living at home with him when I came back home in between deciding what I wanted to do with my life. He shared all the memories of him and Ross and all little bits of information no one really ever wants to know about anything. About why you have to line this and that, and why you should do this with a pipe, and why you have to put the stain oil on a post, and all that kind of thing. Makes sense, but not to a teenager, really. The most exciting thing we did at Boombrae was trying to brew a pine needle tea as a natural fly repellent, because fly was quite prevalent down there. Main memory of Dad was the love he had for Mum. They were a great team and could overcome anything, except civilised sheep drafting. I have never heard such choice language from Mum. I'm pretty sure that's where I learned my first swear words. It was always about which way they were going to run through and what was dirty and clean. They always made us cringe with how soppy in love they were for each other, especially out in public. Dad would do it on purpose. As a teenager, that was the end of the world. I will forever be jealous of their relationship and the many things they accomplished. 3 so-so successful children. At least we can all drive a tractor to some degree. I can get it going forwards. No one's relationship was perfect, they were pretty damn close. I will miss the dad who cleaned up our plates when our eyes were bigger than our stomachs, played Pink Floyd to the sheep before sharing, loved kimchi to the extreme, to the amount that it had to live in the dog shed because it couldn't live in the fridge in the house because Mum hated it. Sharpening my chef's knives when I'd done bad things to them. Taught us the right way to do things, even if it was making sparkler bombs and Molotov cocktails. He caught us in the shed trying to make them and was like, well, if you're going to make them, you might as well do the right way so you don't blow your face off. As we continue to farm with Mum, we'll definitely feel him looking over our shoulder saying, that's not quite square, or I think your batten's not quite close enough. And we'll strive to finish all of his projects, all 75 of them, and build their dream home without the pea green colour scheme in the kitchen. That was at Burnbrae, it was terrible. Love you, Dad. Keep up the kimchi and corn chips. This is not goodbye, this is see you later. Thank you. Who's next? We'll argue about it if you like.
Right. Just give me a second. Dad loved to experiment with things. This extended from growing weird vegetables in the veggie patch just because he could, to changing his cattle genetics with non-mainstream breeds to improve their performance. He would often get an idea from somewhere, research it madly for a couple of weeks, and then before you know it, a delivery of mustard seed had arrived for his master plan. This time to create a regenerative pasture mix for stock to eat. He said, we eat a variety of things, why can't the stock do the same too? One thing Dad never shied away from was a challenge, whether this was from one of many organisations that he was involved in, or things that came his way in the farming scene. He tackled them head on, in a calm and confident way. I admired this about him greatly, and even when things were going terribly wrong, sometimes he would decide to stop and have a cup of tea. This happened on numerous occasions, and I'm sure there's a few of you that have witnessed this, deciding to stop and have a cup of tea if the ewes and lambs had got away and had a break at mustering for docking time. This made me wild. Some of the challenges definitely came from me, with multiple events that I roped him into over the years, but nothing I ever asked for was too difficult. He would make the impossible possible. From planting sweet corn for a young farmer's fundraiser in the side of one of his prime paddocks, to fencing competitions in the rain. I remember growing up as a kid, wanting to be just like Dad. I wanted to be able to drive the motorbike, shift stock with dogs, feed out hay with the tractor and lamb a ewe. All of these things made him a farmer, but not the incredible person that he was. It is only now that I look back and see what else he did and achieved in his life outside of farming. From his involvement in the community and farming groups to appearing on the local stage, he was involved in everything. He just loved doing things for his community. This began in Little Kumaroa and extended to Pātua and Mangumari in the recent years, but Kumaroa held and still holds a special place in his heart. Another thing, more a person, that held a special place in his heart was Mum. Karen to most, but Doris to me. Over 35 years together, 3 kids, many dogs and a handful of cats. And I think probably quite a few horses too. They did everything together. It was rare that Dad did anything alone. Karen was his partner in crime. Working together they achieved great things, and I am incredibly proud of their involvement in the community and hope that in time I can fill some of the enormous hole he has left. Seeing so many people here to say goodbye to Dad today shows just how much he was loved by his family and respected by his peers, and how much he will be truly missed. Thank you.
So I'm flabbergasted. My indestructible father has passed. As my father, my mentor, my teacher, my sympathetic ear, my consultant in all life's challenges and maintenance, there will be a hole in my life that I'll likely never fill. By this stage of the funeral, someone would have surely mentioned his ability to be a jack of all trades and his capacity to wear many hats. This ability enabled him to help a lot of people, which I really respect. As I found over the last few days while taking a piss on the farm, there is no direction I can look that doesn't include a memory of a project or a fence line that we haven't worked on together. This man was always present in my life, encouraging outdoor pursuits, patronage of theatre, and a consideration of the wider world/globe. Always there to guide the work at hand, always there to write a diagram on a scrap of paper or wood to explain the functions or mechanisms so I would have an understanding of why I was trying to fix something. Always there to let me know that the post I had just rammed in was askew. He is an inspiration in his ability to maintain farm equipment and household fixings, and his determination in researching resolutions to challenges through the internet and from knowledgeable tradies and experts. It always frustrated me when I asked him how he learned all these things. His response was, he learned a little bit here and a little bit there over the years, and the importance of keeping your eyes and ears open. Only until recently I have begun to accept that knowledge. Your dark, dry and diverse sense of humour will live on through your family, and we will amuse and horrify the general public for years to come. You have always worked harder than anybody I know, and the amount of childhood bedtime stories that ended prematurely in snoring or with a head drooping showcases the dedication you had for working for this family. Rest easy after a job well done.
Thank you for sharing those special memories. I'm sure there's all bits that you've learnt that you didn't know about. So Nick had a few different interests during his lifetime. He managed to turn his hand to many skills, gaining an electrician's certificate. And he learnt how to fly and held a pilot's licence in his younger years. He had a passion for acting and is a life member of the Pahiatua Repertory Society. He loved to sing and was taught by the well-known Kathy Craig. He also taught himself to play the piano, and these are a few of his achievements the family shared with me on Sunday. In this last chapter of Nick's life, the family are offering you the opportunity to add a paragraph with any memories you may have during open tributes. So if there's anyone at this time that would like to come forward and share a memory or a story with the family, I'm sure they would appreciate hearing them.
Simon, I was Nick's best man at his wedding, and he at mine, 35 years ago, and nearly 34 years ago for Julie and me. Nick, it's been alluded to in this so far that Nick had a wonderful sense of humour. He has a pretty dry sense of humour. Young farmers young farmers allowed him to play this to the full. At one point, after a regional conference, I think, or anyway, some get-together in Dannevirke, young farmers, Nick, I think the Young Farmers Club, somehow they had a one of those wind-up sirens, and Nick proceeded to wind this thing up and go down the high street in Dannevirke at about 2 o'clock in the morning. Not sure that went down terribly well, but anyway, young farmers, they get away with a lot of stuff. He also, at our wedding, so we're getting married. We were in Moganui, in a winery, Holly Lodge Winery, and my wife Julie had some good friends, and one of her friends was very heavily pregnant. She was like 9 months pregnant, and Nick organised for this person, Diane, to come very publicly up and hand me back a key. And then not only that, but there was about 4 or 5 others came and handed me the same key back, as though I'd been really playing the field. He had a very dry sense of humour. I said to Karen when I got here too, that Nick and I were competitors at one point. We were competitors in a lot of things, but we were competitors after the same woman. Not Karen. But then Nick came and stole Karen, and then the rest is history, guys. Yeah, such a loss. Too early, yes, he'll be remembered, big time. Okay, that's all I've got to say. Thank you.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm far too young to have been a matron of honour or a bridesmaid, so I actually prefer to think of Simon and I as flower girl and page boy at Karen and Nick's wedding, which was an absolute honour. I'll never forgive you for making me ride through town in a horse and gig in a shiny pink dress, but that's okay. And interestingly enough, just over a year later, Karen and Nick were at mine and Graham's wedding, and Jennifer was just a tiny baby in arms. So our connections go back a long way, and I can actually take her first meeting of Nick back a little bit further to introducing her to him while he was up a ladder in his work boots and shorts. And I said to her, "Don't look up." She did. So Nick will be very fondly remembered by us and our relationship and friendship with Karen and Nick and the kids. And it's just such a tragedy that someone who was so vibrant and so willing to put his shoulder to the plough and do whatever was expected or required whenever is tragic. And I've said for years, I don't think I've met a couple more joined at the hip than Karen and Nick were. And so for Karen, our hearts really go out to you, because you know this is your soulmate, your best friend, and the father of your children, taken far too young. And life can be terribly cruel, but I really liked that comment about the crack with the light shining through, and it will come through, and your memories of Nick will certainly keep you going. Did you find the key? Did you get into the safe? Monday, okay. So Karen and Nick bought the big safe off of us way back when we first bought the ANZ Bank building in Pahiatua, which was built in 1936, so it was a pretty old safe. I had visions of him having it out in a paddock and getting the army in to blow it up. Sort of one of those comedy things. But it was, they'll find the key as soon as they get it open. But I just want to say, Karen, our thoughts are with you and you kids, and you all spoke so well, so well. Your dad would have been incredibly proud of you. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Karen and family. My name's George Ross. I had a long association with Nick with his Federated Farmers career. The first time I met Nick, he came to a Southern Hawke's Bay Federated Farmers AGM as a Young Farmers Club representative. flick on a few years, maybe a decade, I was Tararua provincial president as things had changed. Nick was my deputy. He served as meet and wall chair. I actually did a sidestep and he became president in front of me. I was his deputy and gave him as much support as I was able through those years. But over a very long number of years, we would have talked several times a week about the issues and what we were trying to achieve for the farmers in the Tararua. Nick was an independent thinker, and he always gave any of the issues that we were dealing with a great deal of thought, formulated an opinion, and he never minded, from that very first time that he came as a young farmers representative, to stand up and put his point of view forward. And he didn't mind if the rest of us didn't agree, but he was never a sheep. He took representing the farmers of Tararua very, very seriously, 100% reliable, and he's continued to this day as secretary of the Tararua Federated Farmers. He has had a huge involvement in representing the farmers to a high level. Also, I served with Nick on the Rural Support Trust, which you've all will all be aware of, probably through Chris Southgate and Bill Wallace's periods as facilitators. Nick contributed immensely to the district. He will be missed, and most especially by his wonderful family.
I'm glad someone filled that gap. We forgot about that.
Hi, I'm Sally from Tararua Federated Farmers. Some of this will be repetitive, but I apologise for that. But we were fortunate to have Nick within our exec for many years. Nick's current role was Treasurer and Secretary, and 9 years ago he and Karen were recognised for their services to Tararua Feds by being awarded life membership. Well read and open to new ideas, Nick appeared driven by a desire to see farmers do the right things for the right reasons. He was brave and curious enough to ask some of the hard questions. He sought ways to ensure we all, young, old, rural, urban, young farmers, old farmers, explored issues together. The examples included opening the farm to the public, hosting movie nights, and all the community groups being welcome to these, and attending young farmer events, even though he was far from a young farmer. He used props such as a wheelbarrow to record what the shearer and the farmer got paid, to draw attention to the issues. One of his best photo props is on the service sheet in the bath of the water trough with the dogs included, while trying to get phone reception. And I have to say we used it recently at a Three Waters submission to the councillors, and they certainly paid attention when we showed the photo. So, thank you. Sound financial management and governance by Nick has helped facilitate the awarding of school and school leaver scholarships. Nick asked applicants questions that encouraged those applying to look more deeply at the topical issues and what their role within ag might be. He took the time to evaluate each on their merits and was adamant that these awards were to empower further learning and not dependent on your farming background. Nick's rural community group involvement was commendable, including the Bush St John, Hall and Dog Trial groups, Tararua Rural Support Trust, and the list goes on. He helped make our rural community a better place to be. Nick was an encouraging friend and mentor who believed in the future of both farmers and farming. He grew those he interacted with in a supportive yet challenging manner. Nick epitomised the Fed's mantra of being a trusted voice for farmers. Karen and family, thanks for sharing Nick with us. Nick, in one word, thanks.
None of you really know who I am, and that's okay. I'm Jen's designated coat carrier, Simon. I've been with Jen for about 2 years now. I just wanted to say something. I'm sad that I never got to see the vibrant sense of humour that you all talk about. Sounds like there are some really interesting stories there. For me, Nick was a very introspective man. I just want to echo Sally's comment. He did ask a lot of hard questions. A lot of them were aimed at me. And, I think the fact that I grew up overseas, he had a lot of overseas experience, kind of brought us together a wee bit. And as such, he drilled me about the world constantly. And I've never really been challenged by someone so much, while also being so welcomed. So I'm sad I didn't get to know him better, but it's been great being part of this family, so thank you. Nice meeting you all.
Goodness. We emigrated from London to Kumara 26 years ago without knowing anyone here. A community event was held in this very hall to welcome us and 4 other families. And this is where we met Nick and Karen. Like us, they had a 4-year-old son, Mitchell, and soon Joss and Mitchell were firm friends. Nick and Karen took us under their wing, and this caring couple invited us to join their family for many Christmases and birthday celebrations. When Joss was seriously ill, they supported us in so many ways. Over the 12 years we were here, we enjoyed many happy times in their company. Nick was farming. Nick's farm was immediately adjacent to our property at Otawa, and they lived 3 kilometres just down Cemetery Road. And he offered help and advice to these naive English folk living on an 80-acre lifestyle block. This introduction to rural Kiwi life has stood us in good stead as New Zealanders, and is much valued and appreciated. Nick was his own man, thoughtful, kind, and an independent thinker. He worked hard in support of the school and the community, especially maintaining the pool for all to enjoy. Along with Karen, he would step up to help anyone in need. This true pillar of the community will be sorely missed. Nick, we're proud to have known you. Rest in peace, dear friend.
Hello, my name's Tim Polton, and I'm really here today to say something on behalf of the Kumara community. I've lived here all my life. Rural communities have a way about them. Nick epitomised that way of a community-minded member. He got himself involved in absolutely everything that Kumara had to offer and that was needed to help Kumara be a successful rural community. From his involvement, obviously it's been alluded to many times already this afternoon, with the building of this hall, with the running of the school, looking after the pool, the dog trials, the sports club. He selflessly did work that probably many members of our community were unaware of. He would just come down and fix things up in the hall or at the school without any fanfare, without anyone knowing, and that was just the way Nick was. He will be sorely missed.
Hi, my name is Angela Payne, and I just want to refer to how generous Nick has been with his farm, with his family and with his connections around the country. So I got to know Nick first and Karen through hunting here with Danny Verk Hunt, and it was always one of the very early hunts of the season, and they opened the farm up to us. Karen would bring her beautiful horses and come riding as well, and I wasn't so keen on jumping, and Karen's jumping days were a little bit more moderated, and so her and I and a couple of other people who are here, Jeanette as well as here out there, we would ride around the back, and God, we had fun there. And then we'd go back to the woolshed and hear about the stories about the other people that had jumped and fallen off, and half of that we'd missed, but we'd had our own really good fun. But we always started down in the river flats, and there were so many hares there that the hounds would just go off in every direction. Each hound had its own hare, and it could be quite a big job to muster them all up. But the thing that comes through to me loud and clear, the last few years Karen and I have done a lot more trekking together, and Nick has supported Karen's horse riding career all the way through. Absolutely loved the horse Sugar as much as Karen loved the horse, and so when Sugar was lost and a replacement was found, he embraced Bebo just as much, and you know, he's become a big part of your life too. But I'm not sure if everyone here realises how supportive that Nick has been of the horse riding career, and how he's shared that with everyone that else that's involved with horses. And his network with the Federated Farmers was amazing, because we've done some big horse treks down the South Island. We'd end up in places where we actually didn't know where we were going to stay that night, and so Karen would ring Nick and say, hey, do you know anyone in Fairley, or do you know anyone in some God knows place? And then Karen would be like, it's all right, Nick sent me a GPS coordinate, we've got somewhere to go tonight. And we would always be received and given paddocks to graze our horses in. We were self-contained, we just we camped on site ourselves, but just to have those connections. There were a few times we didn't actually know where we were going to end up, and Nick always saved the day, because he has connections across the whole country and is going to be so sorely missed. So those are the horse connections that we miss, that we're going to miss, and I'm so pleased to hear that Karen and the family are going to continue to farm the beloved farm and keep all those connections going. But the other thing that resonates so much, Karen and I spent just over 4 weeks camping together in a camper van, and she is the best camping travel companion, and there's not many people that could spend that long in a camper van, and we just got on so well and had so much fun. And every night Nick would ring, or she would ring. Some nights we didn't have cell phone coverage, so there's an odd gap here and there, and then they'd talk twice as long, but that love and that friendship was there all the way through. Nick would get up really early in the morning to meet me and drop Karen and the horse and some hay off at, I don't know, the side of the road somewhere, whatever time it was, and then when we broke down on the way back, Jen rescued us and came out and took us back. Yeah, and so nothing seemed to be a problem for Nick. He was able to solve so many problems for us wherever we were. But that love and that friendship that Karen and Nick have, well, just is amazing. Thank you for the privilege.
Was there anyone else that wanted to take this opportunity? Thank you to you all. The family will be so grateful that you have shared your stories today, and will take comfort from these. And after the service, there will also be time, of course, to share any other memories that you have or remember. These may come to mind as we take this time to view a visual tribute the family have chosen to share with us all today. And chosen to accompany this visual tribute is the tune The Sounds of Silence by Simon and Garfunkel.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again, because a vision softly creeping left its seeds while I was sleeping, and the vision that was planted in my brain still remains within the sound of silence. In restless dreams I walked alone, narrow streets of cobblestone, neath the halo of a street lamp. I turned my collar to the cold and damp, when my eyes were stabbed by the flash of a neon light that split the night and touched the sound of silence. And in the naked light I saw 10,000 people, maybe more. People talking without speaking. People hearing without listening. People writing songs and voices never shared. And no one dared disturb the sound of silence. Fool said I, you do not know. Silence like a cancer grows. Hear my words that I might teach you. Take my arms that I might reach you. But my words, like silent raindrops, fell and echoed in the wells of silence. And the people bowed and prayed to the neon god they made. And the sign flashed out its warning, and the words that it was forming. And the sign said the words of the prophets are written on the subway walls and tenement halls, and whispered in the sound of silence.
Thanks, Mitchell. Thank you for sharing those photographs. It's always lovely hearing the family's reaction. So Nick obviously loved the outdoors, and his passion for farming, dogs, shepherding, proof that being outside was his place of feeling most at home. May the road rise up to meet you as a traditional Irish blessing which speaks of 3 images of nature. And today, Karen's cousin Gail Marshall is going to read this Irish blessing, so we welcome her forward.
I'm her big cousin. And I'm representing all her cousins, the Keens, the Garriochs, the Bray, and all those on our side. Before I start the Irish blessing, I just want to say, obviously, a very, very beautiful man, as Karen would say, good as gold. He was someone that even after losing my own husband was humble and kind, and sort of gave me some wonderful moments after that time as well, as has all of his family, and I thank you for that. Karen, it's not easy. It's bloody hard. The heartbreak that you feel right now, the grief that you're going to go through, and for all of you, it's going to be difficult. But I feel quite blessed to know that you have friends, family, and lots of people that will help you through that. And don't forget, you also have Nick. He will be watching over you. He will be there every minute of every day for you. It doesn't get any easier, but knowing that he is watching, knowing that you have your children that are part of him, helps. Okay. I think this is actually a really good verse taken from the Irish blessing. It's very much about Nick, and I am very proud to read it out. Okay, may the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face. The rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. And that is where he will always be. You only have to think of him. The tears are the memories. For every tear there is a memory, a fond and beautiful memory. So cry and let it be for the memories. Thank you.
As we near the end of our service here for Nick, we are having the commendation, committal and blessing, and then the family will come forward to lay greenery on Nick's casket, which is actually in Nick's mum's basket, and then they will leave the hall. So everyone is welcome to follow on and do this also, or equally you can leave the hall via another exit and meet the family outside where you'll be able to catch up with them then. Nick will stay here at this time, which will allow you the opportunity, or for anyone who would like to say a quiet farewell to Nick, that's your opportunity to do that then. After lunch, the family are taking Nick for his final ride up the valley, past the properties he has lived on before the family say their own private farewells. At this time we remember Karen, Jen, Bex and Mitchell, and his family that he held so close. May you all remember this. Don't learn to live without Nick. Learn to live with his love in a different way. He lives on in each of you, and may you all take comfort from this. The moment of meeting is the beginning of parting, but the moment of parting is the beginning of meeting again. Knowing this brings comfort to us. Knowing that when we let go of the ones we love, we will meet them again. As we say goodbye, we realise there is no turning back, and this is how grief feels. This time can bring peace too. We are grateful for the life that Nick lived to the full, and the memories that he created with you all. Could you all please stand? Nicol John Perry. Although there is grief today as we say goodbye, we are grateful for the privilege of having shared life with you. Rest now at the end of your days. Rest in the hearts and minds of all those that love you. And so with love we shall leave you in peace, and with respect we bid you a fond farewell. We are all part of the circle of life. Birth is its beginning, death is its destination, but life is its journey. Here and now, in this final act, we give Nicol John Perry back to the earth on the farm he loved so dearly, and now we commit his body to be cremated. Earth to earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. It is with compassion and love that we now say farewell. I just want to share a poem with you called Shut the Gate. A block of land in sun or hail, a gentle breeze or howling gale, has been my patch for many years, and so it is as life's end nears. Fences were laid, sheep were shorn, crops were reaped, lambs were born. My life was full, but more than land and animals, things close at hand. The people around me mattered most, my family, friends, and all host of kindly neighbours, near and dear, that filled my life with love and cheer. I've worked, I've played in good and bad, I've no regrets, so don't be sad. I cannot stay, I'm sorry mate, so when I've gone, please shut the gate. And to leave this place, go safely, gently, find the support you need at this time. Take courage, shed tears, find ways to remember, and allow yourselves to grieve well. Rest in peace, Nick.
These mist-covered mountains are a home now for me, but my home is the lowlands, and always will be. Someday you'll return to your valleys and your farms, and you'll no longer burn to be brothers in through these fields of destruction. baptisms of fire. I've witnessed your suffering as the battle reached high. And though it hurt me so bad, in the fear and alarm, you did not desert me, my brothers in arms. There's so many different worlds, so many different suns, and we have just one world, but we live in different worlds. Now the sun's gone to hell, the moon's riding high. Let me bid you farewell. Every man has to die, but it's written in the stars. In every line in your palm, we're fools to make war on our brothers in arms. mist-covered mountains are a home now for me. But my home is the lowlands, and always will be. Someday you'll return to your valleys and your farms, and you'll no longer burn to be brothers in through these fields of destruction.